It's Bob Harris here on BBC Radio 2, our session coming up from Olympic Symphonium. Now, this is a session that we recorded with them in February this year. And for various reasons, I wasn't able to be at the session. So what happened was the band recorded songs in my absence, but Kyle and Nick from the band have come in to talk about the songs. So it's sort of odd situation of the pre-recorded songs, but a conversation going on about them in the studio with Kyle and Nick. So it is Olympic Symphonium coming up in just a second.
I cannot teach you all you'll need to know. I can direct you, but I cannot go. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn. Creating a character becomes an art. When you think that you're finished, you're ready to start. There's a lot to learn. 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 Words, songs, themes, ideas, morals and melody, rhythm and rhyme. Practicing can never make perfect people. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn. I cannot teach you all you'll need to know. I cannot sing for you, this is a show. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn. Words, songs, themes, ideas, morals and melody, rhythm and rhyme. Practicing can never make perfect people. Could only pretend how to feel. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn.
Well, this is the very, very lovely music of Olympic Symphonium. That song is called A Lot to Learn, and Kyle and Nick from the band are with me in the studio. It must be sort of slightly odd having recorded that just as a one-off, we're 3 or 4 months on from that moment now, and here you are listening to it, playing back in the studio.
I think I'm in the same spot, actually.
How does it sound?
It sounds all right, yeah. Now listening to it again 3 months later, it sounds pretty good.
Yeah, because it's very, very beautiful music you make. And, of course, Olympic Symphonium is a 3-piece band. Graham Walker is the other guy in the band that's not here in the studio tonight. Yeah. But all of you play in other bands as well, don't you? So, how does all this work out?
Well, yeah, I guess there's a lot of music happening, and everybody plays back in the East Coast, so there's a lot of opportunity to be able to play with different people, and why would you not take that opportunity? So we managed to work around all of our schedules and be able to play with different people, and it keeps us interested and excited and traveling a lot. So,
and by the East Coast, you mean the Canadian East Coast?
Canadian East Coast, yeah.
Which I think is the sort of maritime seaboard area, and I very much associate it with acoustic music, with folk music, with folk alliances, and with Celtic music.
Yeah, there's a big Celtic crowd down that area. We don't play Celtic music at all, but you can find it anywhere in the Maritimes.
I get the feeling, anyway, I haven't been there. I've been invited to go in February, I think it is. There's an annual kind of Celtic and folk music convention, isn't there, in temperatures of minus 22 degrees.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me, yeah.
But there is a wonderful musical community on the Eastern Seaboard, isn't there?
Yes, there is, yeah. It's to the point where, everybody who travels through all the different cities, everybody knows each other. You're always seeing your friends coming to town playing because you know all these bands and you play with them in different cities. So, yeah, it is. It's a very strong community.
So where does Olympic Symphonium sit in that community, style-wise, and the contacts and friendships that you've got?
I think we're still in the building stages a bit. We've been playing for about 2.5 years now as this band, but we've been playing for over 10, I think, each of us playing music in the Maritimes. So we always meet new people and play new places, which is interesting considering how small of a place that is, that we're all able to still grow and find new places to play and meet people, but it's great.
Because this is it characterizes Canadian music a lot to me, this lovely camaraderie that does exist in Canada. By comparison with the British music scene, it seems to me to be more friendly and less competitive.
It's really supportive, yeah.
Yeah, very, very supportive. Because, you're all kind of in the same boat, aren't you? And you're not going to sell trillions of records in Canada.
No, that's not our goal.
so the ambition, it's music-based as opposed to fame-based, I always think. What's your sort of take on that?
I agree with that in some ways. Like, our goal really is to just write and perform together. Like, that's what we get a kick out of. And, just us playing shows together and getting together to write songs, like, that's what we love to do. And if we get to play some gigs and share those songs with people, and if people enjoy them and we get to make new friends while we're doing that, that's what we get out of it, and it's great.
Brilliant. Yeah. So as Olympic Symphonium then, how much time do you spend together on this project relative to the other things, the satellite projects you've all got?
It can be sort of equal, I guess.
Yeah, it comes in waves. We'll be doing more 1 month with one band, and then it really depends on the time of year and what's going on. But we try to make time whenever we are all in the same city to get together and go over new material and play with each other, just because we like doing it so much. And it's really exciting to be able to do it. So
it's all good, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Well, let's hear another song from the session itself, and tell us about Cold and Blue.
Cold and Blue is one of my songs. I guess it was just it's the newest song that I've wrote for the band, because the way we write songs is we treat it as 3 individual songwriters. So one will bring a song in and show it to the other 2 guys, and then we kind of build on it from there. And I guess this was my latest addition to the trio.
Okay, so this is Olympic Symphonium, and this is Cold and Blue.
Hiding has become a pastime, a hobby created for me. replacing the laughs from the last time you and I sang harmony. What do I have to do to keep it warm between me and you? Cross twice a day is gonna be frozen real soon, and it seems like these changes are here to stay, cold and unbearably blue. What do
Cold and Blue is the title of the song, Olympic Symphonium. And Kyle and Nick are with me in the studio. Actually, while that was playing, we were just talking, weren't we, about Q Studio, you know, this amazing program that is broadcast on CBC, which I was on with the Great Lakes Swimmers when I was in Toronto last year, Jan Gameshi. And Jan comes over. He was here for Canada Day because there's a big performance. Well, now it goes across 2 days in Trafalgar Square, where a lot of Canadian musicians come over and play, and you get support, don't you? Here, it comes in the form of support at Canada House, so the government is directly kind of involved in helping support and underwrite tours that happen here. And in Canada, there are various funding bodies, aren't there, to help with young bands. Have you plugged into that support as Olympic Symphonium?
That's a big part of us being able to be here actually today. Even the Canadian government has an excellent provincial and federal funding for music, and it's amazing. It enables bands to grow, whereas we don't come from a place where we can play to large audiences and sell a lot of records. That kind of gives us the push to be able to go overseas and build in a place like the UK and to make albums and everything. Actually, it covers a wide spectrum of opportunities, and it's just, I can't say enough good things about that, and CBC as well.
Yeah. So what psychological impact does this have then? I mean, as young musicians, is it a kind of welcoming thing that's just a positive thing that you know you're going to get this kind of support?
Yeah, I think so. I think once you've been accepted after you've tried a few times, you kind of feel like, okay, people really do support what we're doing, and they're willing to help us work even harder at this, so you in turn work harder and are more enthusiastic about what you do, and in terms of the business aspect of it, because the creative, it's totally separate from the creative part of the music, but it's neat to be able to work with both of those and know that people are behind you. So
yeah, absolutely. Now, you brought in a couple of tracks for me to play, and I don't know anything about the first one at all. Snail House. Tell us about Snail House.
It's mostly a project by one man. His name's Mike Fearstack. He's originally from the east coast of Canada, where we're from, in New Brunswick. He's been living in Montreal for a little while now, but he's been recording music under this moniker, Snail House, for years, to the point where there was just a tribute CD released, a tribute to Snail House, with a bunch of pretty big Canadian acts. And we've recently kind of met him in the last year and became really good friends with him, and we played some shows with him. But really, he's one of the best songwriters I've ever heard. Like, he's just great songs, but also not a lot of people know about him.
Right.
Even though he's got this tribute CD, there's many, many, many Canadians that would have no idea who he is.
Right.
But we wanted to play a Snail House song because we think he's a great songwriter.
And he plays with a lot of different people too. He plays with Julie Durand and Angela DeVoe, who's coming over in a little while over here, and
Bell Orchestre.
Yep.
And the Wooden Stars. So.
Well, I love it when people introduce me to new music. So I'm looking forward to Snail House. This is Fire Alarm.
Working late, I didn't have much time to call. Talk to mom and dad, say I love them all. People sleeping in the hallways, blood on the elevator wall. Someone slept out in the hallway on a tabletop. Pissed against the wall and didn't clean it up. I thought I heard your face, so I shouted out your voice.
It is. It's really good, isn't it? Fire Alarm. Snail House, the choice of Kyle and Nick from Olympic Symphonium, who are with me in the studio this evening. And we're talking about Canadian music and stuff, and the heritage of Canadian music, because it was a penny that very gradually began to drop, in my case, in terms of the number of Canadian artists that through the years I began to realize I played and was playing, some of whom people don't even kind of realize they're Canadian. You know?
That's true. Well, even like last time we were over here, we would meet people. They would ask us who our favorite songwriters were. We'd always mention Neil Young because he is one of our favorite songwriters. And then the topic would come up. We would always mention how he's Canadian, and people would be like, "What? I'm sure he's American." And no, he's Canadian. He's born and bred, you know.
Because historically there was that moment, wasn't there, in the late 60s, as the Canadian folk music scene in Toronto, it was almost kind of like the Greenwich Village folk music scene. And these new artists were beginning to emerge from the Canadian music scene. But if ambition was that they had to sign for a Warner Brothers or a Reprise or a Phonogram or whatever label it was, to get the worldwide exposure, if that's what they wanted, then they had to go to America. And America started looking to Canada to provide these actually what then became big name artists. Gordon Lightfoot was one of the names, wasn't he? And then Bruce Cockburn and then eventually Rush. And all these people signed with big American labels, didn't they? So there came a moment, I guess, that would have happened probably in the 80s, where Canadian music began to dig its own heels and say, no, wait a minute, we want to flourish in Canada. I mean, I'm talking about Cowboy Junkies, but maybe Bare Naked Ladies were about the first to begin to dig their heels in and say, right, no, we are our own indie music scene. Yeah,
and let's do this ourselves.
Yeah,
let's not have to rely on, crossing the border to get this done.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that then, they're the green shoots, aren't they, of a scene now that's grown up in Toronto in particular, which is the one I know about. I mean, I know there are different music areas all over Canada, but the one that I know best is Toronto, and it's vigorous and it's eclectic. There are all kinds of different music there.
It's big. There's bands in every town, every city, and it's to the point now where, like, 80% of the music I listen to is Canadian bands, and bands that we've met on the road and bands that come to our city to play a show. Cause, if we're home and for a weekend and there's bands playing, we'll go see them. And that's what we love to do, is see music. And, you get to know all these bands and you realize how great they are. And it's good to be able to support your own country's music. And
absolutely.
Yeah, it's very important, I think.
It's always surprising to me how many bands we'll meet on the road that are so good and people don't know about them, or they'll give us their CD and it's so good and amazing, and like, how do people not know about this on a world scale?
But we are playing things by people that people won't know. So 2 Minute Miracles, just tell me about this.
2 Minute Miracles is a project by a man named Andy McGoffin, who has recorded a lot of the big Canadian albums in the independent scene in the last 10 years, from Constantine's to Royal City and Jim Guthrie, stuff like that, and he's been putting out these 2 Minute Miracle albums. This is volume 4, so there's 4 albums and then an EP, and he's just same thing with Snail House, an totally underrated songwriter, an excellent musician, and an all-around great guy and huge supporter of Canadian music, and big integral part of the scene.
So the title of this song?
Since We Were Married.
Watch. We've grown into one, and though we're not infinite, let's go make some fun. Now that we've shared a home, my sudden reversals are watched by you alone. We were married, do you ever
music from the 2-Minute Miracles, and let me just give you their website address. Not surprisingly, it's www.2minutemiracles.com. But I guess it's the website, really, that's probably the best way to access this music from this group, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, all these groups have music online that you can check out, and probably links to other great Canadian bands, too, so...
Excellent.
Which we recommend.
Yes. Nick and Kyla here from Olympic Symphonium, and the final song that we're listening to from the session, just tell us about Pieces.
Sure. Pieces is a song of mine from our first CD, and it's just kind of about, it's a love song, but it's about parts of you that you miss when you're away, like your home in Canada and the ones you love.
How much you take. A scattered mess, something to create, where pieces act as mirrors of our shapes, where pieces act as mirrors of our shapes. Sake but mine, when something's wrong, don't leave that far behind. And if you find a fault between these lines, don't hesitate to leave that far behind. Don't hesitate to leave that far behind.
This is the Bob Harris Show on BBC Radio 2. That song is called Pieces, and it's our final live song from Olympic Symphonium. But I've got a track set up from the new CD, More in Sorrow Than in Anger. I mean, how many Olympic Symphonium CDs are there?
That's our second one.
Right.
Yeah. The first one we released was very limited release, 500 copies. They were all like silkscreen printed, covered on like a cardboard case, and like pretty much a homemade effort. But yeah, we're out of those for now. So this is our newest release.
Because, you know, the artwork and the whole presentation of the CD, this is, you know, in addition to the music itself, but the cover, the sleeve, the way everything sits, that's all very important as well, isn't it, in terms of the way you're presenting it. How much time and energy and recording time and everything went into this new album?
Quite a bit of time. It was stretched out over about a year of recording, maybe?
Yeah, just over a year. And in a lot of different locations and different spots. Like the last one, it just sort of all came together and we knew it was done when we didn't expect it to be, kind of. So we just kept working on it to a point where it was like, all right, this is great. This is finally what we need to do, and this is it. We don't want to touch it anymore.
Yes. Yeah, because you have to know when to say that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, you could keep adding.
Done.
You could keep adding different instruments and different vocal parts, but we finally found that it was ready. Yeah.
Well, it's a lovely album. It really is. I'm going to play Intentions Alone in a moment or two. But now, plans into the future. You're both playing here in the UK on Monday night, aren't you? But are you playing in different groups?
We're playing together in another group called Share, SHARE.
Right.
And that's one of the bands that we're kind of busy with back home. We're about to release a new album with that band as well. And we're playing Monday night?
Yeah, we're playing Monday at a place called the Duchess in York.
Right.
And we had a good time in York. York's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. So if people want to get in touch with you then and go into a site, what's the best address to give them?
Probably just at theolympicsymphonium.com.
theolympicsymphonium.com.
Or our label website, too, is a good source to check out both Share and the Olympic Symphonium, and that's forwardmusicgroup.com.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you for the music and the session and everything else. And this is Olympic Symphonium from More in Sorrow Than in Anger. And this is Intentions Alone.
Alone.
Intentions Alone. From the album More in Sorrow Than in Anger, the lovely music of Olympic Symphonium. And the guys have just given me a beautiful vinyl version of this album. Very, very lovely it is too. I still love vinyl, I have to say.